This is Logisim, and I'm going to walk you through the beginner's tutorial, which you can find on the Logisim website. In this tutorial, we're going to be constructing this circuit which does the exclusive OR operation, but is built out of ANDs and ORs and NOT gates. Let's switch over to Logisim. First, a little tour. This area on the right-hand side is called the canvas, or the build area. On the top, we've got a toolbar where we can type some text, and there's some quick access to a few of the common gates. But really, the gates that we want to use are under the Gates folder. So click the triangle next to it. Here you can see all the gates that you have access to. Let's get started building the circuit. We're going to need a couple of AND gates first, so I'm going to click on an AND, click in the build area. I don't have to drag them in, I just click and then click. Note that each gate here has 5 inputs by default. Any inputs that you don't connect up in the circuit don't affect it at all, so don't feel like you have to change it to correspond with the number of inputs in the circuit diagram itself. But if you want to, click on a gate, and then over here on the left-hand side, we see there's an entry here for number of inputs. We can click on that 5 and change it to, say, 2, and now this thing has 2 inputs just at the top and bottom. We can do the same thing for the other one here. To complete the circuit, we need an OR gate and a couple of NOTs, so let's bring those in. Here's our OR, and here's a NOT, which we'll put up here, and one down here. And now we're ready to start connecting them together. So to connect them together, just click and drag, and you can make one 90-degree turn as you drag, but I can't actually make this S shape, so I'm going to have to kind of come up here, stop dragging, and then drag a new one in. So I can go one turn and then come in like that, and this one just connects straight across. This connects straight across, and I need an output and 2 inputs. So these are the inputs and outputs up here. Here's an input, let's put it there. Here's one here, and here's an output right there, and then we'll just connect them up. And then notice in the diagram here we have the input X also going to the bottom AND gate. So to do that, just click and drag. And this one up here, click and drag. Now notice that these two lines do cross each other, but they're not actually touching. The only places where wires are touching is where there's a circle at the intersection. And then finally, let's label our inputs and outputs. The inputs here should be labeled X and Y, and the output should be labeled exclusive OR. So I'm going to click on one of the inputs, scroll down to label, and I'll put in here X. And now we've got an X label there. This one is Y, and this one here is XOR. Now we're ready to try out our circuit. To do so, click on the hand tool here, which I think is called the poke tool. And when you click on the inputs, they change from a 0 to a 1. There's 4 possibilities for exclusive OR. The output should be a 0 if both of them are 0. It should be a 1 if one or the other is a 1, and it should be a 0 if both of them are 1. Let's try it out here. So this is a 1, and then we'll switch it over to the other one, a 1. That's a 1, that's good. And then both of them 1, that's a 0. So I know this does the exclusive OR operation. We can have Logisim analyze the circuit and build us a truth table. Go Project, Analyze Circuit, click on the Inputs tab and make sure that X and Y are listed as inputs. Click on Outputs and make sure the exclusive OR is listed as the output, and then click on Table. And there's our exclusive OR truth table. If you want to copy and paste this table into, say, a word processing document, just highlight it and then copy it by going Command-C or Control-C, and then paste it into the word processing document. Finally, we can save this image so that we could put it into another document. Just go File, Export Image. It'll ask you what format. I'd select PNG. Click OK. It'll ask you for the name, and then click on Export, and the image is saved. That's my tutorial for Logisim. Now you're ready to start using it to build and analyze more complex circuits.